call, probably could have went through like a developer resume as well too. So let me go ahead, share my screen. Uh, so you guys tell me if you can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Oh,
Yes.
awesome, awesome. So let's talk about the Q resume. All right, so this is a Q resume. Uh, this is a sample resume. So, there's the objective part, which is talking about how many years of professional experience you have, because there are some roles that
Sorry, it's
when
not very
you,
clear. Oh.
oh,
Can you
it's
hear
not
me?
clear? Oh, okay. Let me make it bigger. What about now? Is it
It's
better?
blurry. Fine.
It's clear from my end.
Oh,
It's clear from my hand.
Okay, it's clear. It's clear now.
it's clear now. Okay, okay, all right. Yeah, so they're always particular about like, years of experience. Most of the time, we can be lucky, we can get maybe 2 years, experience in demand for a QA person, a dev person. It all depends. But it's always good for United States market to have like a minimum of 3 to 5 years experience. The rush and the pressure is always there. In all honesty, the rush and pressure is always there. By the time you put like 5 years, 3 to 5 years in your resume, you get on a job. The pressure is much, but you get on a job quicker than looking for an entry level. Because if you're looking for an entry level, you might get frustrated. That's just the honest. So that's one thing. And after like the putting the years of professional experience on the objective side of things, then now there's always the summary part. So there are some keywords, let me say trigger words for each field in IT. For instance, as a QA person, they want to know that you understand like the development life cycle of the software you'll be testing. And knowing the development life cycle, you also understand the testing life cycle as of the software you'll be testing as well too. So these are kind of like knowing the ABCs of the ABC to Z of alphabet forming a word. Then after that, they want to see if you are kind of like up to date, what kind of methodology you'll be using to carry out your testing life cycle. So they want to know, okay, this person understand what we call like agile methodology. We have the waterfall methodologies and stuff like that. So because as a QA person, you always be part of a team. They expect you to understand agile. Nobody wants to spend that time, like explaining agile to you because you said you have 3 to 5 years experience, and in your resume you said, yeah, yeah, I've been a part of team and stuff like that. So when the resumes are being prepared, we start reaching out to the people that are ready. They think they're ready to go to the market. Then whatever has been put in your resume, you need like a week or two study on your own, honest study. And I'm saying this from a place of experience. Honest study in saying that you need to do a due diligence of understanding every key words or trigger words in your resume. You might not be able to tie them together when you're doing your research, but knowing the definitions and sleeping with the definitions, like chewing the definitions, digesting definitions, is going to make at least 20% of your life easy if you get an interview or you get on a job. Because basically, as I said earlier on, it's just like know your prepositions in English and trying before you start forming sentences and stuff like that. So talking about the QA aspect of IT, also understanding like chart diagrams is very important because they'll definitely really want you to come up with some kind of like organogram where you want to show them like the past test cases, the failed test cases. They want to see it in a chart. They probably want like a kind of like a diagram that even though someone not technical from the business side can understand from a picture aspect. And also manual testing. Even though you guys did some automation testing, not much, but a little bit. Manual testing is always the foundation, right? Because you have to understand the traceability requirement metrics. You need to understand testing on the bare minimum, happy path scenarios, and all this comes from writing them down in a manual test case, and also figuring out the negative path scenarios. So trying to play like devil's advocate. Technically, that's what I call the negative um, path scenario for testing. So the next one is based on the way technology is going right now. They want to believe you should know what we call like the REST API testing. REST API testing in the sense that most backend applications these days are all RESTful. RESTful because they are going microservices. They provide like different various endpoints to front end, even mobile apps. Mobile application also call these APIs. So that's why they go into like API testing. They're big with API testing, and we still have some older applications as well too. That's where the concept of SOAP came into play. SOAP UI. It's old, so you have to still like be able to give a definition, even though you can not, test on a fly. Eventually, when you get on a job and most of the application are kind of like legacy app or they're kind of like SOAP app, so then you need to figure out a way to use whatever software they're using to do this testing. So we have unit testing. Unit testing, as a tester, shouldn't really bother yourself of knowing too much about unit testing. Unit testing basically is the testing that is done at the application level and is done only by the developers most of the time, except you want to change um, your line, you want to become a developer, but you don't really need to put your strengths to unit testing. So there are some other tools. So if you want to be a functional tester, of course, you want to know TestNG. TestNG is a framework that is widely used by different organizations. Their testing department. It enables testers to write automation test scripts. It helps them basically to be able to bring in some annotation that makes their life easy, generating reports, giving priority to test. Like for instance, you want to test if a user, let's say, has money in his or her account. So there's some things that need to happen before you could test if a user, a bank application user, have money in their account. So they have to be in priorities. The first thing is to get the username and password, get the URL, get the username and password, log into the website. Then after that, you click on the account. Once you click on the account, then you go to balance. So TestNG, JUnit, Cucumber Gherkins, and all this very nice framework will give you the ability to set what we call like priorities. You set your priorities without this nice libraries, all this nice framework. You will not be able to achieve that. So automation is good because it saves costs, it's cost effective, and it's good for regression. You could basically set your automation script to run every night. You could set your automation script to run maybe every weekend. It depends on the resources you're using. If you have a cloud resource, you probably don't want to run your regression testing every night, because most cloud infrastructures are pay per use. So it all depends on the scenario you find yourself. Having this deeper understanding, using Selenium is very important as well. To Selenium basically is used for testing UI, web UI. You test your front end. Nice front end design. Could be like a school portal UI design. Could be a healthcare domain UI design. Selenium is going to help you. So you could use Selenium in any language. Selenium alone is just a framework, but it does need a language that the computer understands, like Java. Java has its own compiler. Like C Sharp, it has its own compiler that computer is going to understand. C++, JavaScript, Python, They all work with Selenium. So now the next one that we probably want to talk about as a tester is understanding like different tooling system that you'll be using to document your test cases, and also use that particular tool to kind of like create your I'm coming, please give me 1 sec. All right, sorry about that. Then different tools you use to document your test cases. Some people use Jira to document test cases, and you're going to always be part of a team. So once you're part of a team, whatever the team is using is what you use to document your test cases. You document your test cases using like the acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria basically means like the business functionalities, the features, then from there the features down to the story. Some people use Sapphire. It all depends on what your team is using, but the ultimate goal there is to understand how to create test cases. That's what really matters. Understanding JSON data structure is very important, because you'll be working with a lot of payloads. Every application needs a payload. Everything software needs a data. So data are the one that forms payloads. So payloads are what QA uses to test. So if we come up with a resume, why I'm giving this definition of all those words right now is because when we give you a resume, I'm trying to help you guys to connect these dots together. By then you start doing your researches and seeing why all these responsibilities are written at every section that's going to be given to you in your resume, why it's been making sense. You guys can ask questions, find time. If you come up with a resume, if we give you a sample resume, you come up with a resume and you still cannot connect everything, we can always find time to connect with any of us, and we'll still go over it again. Make sure you guys are comfortable. So this is how the responsibilities have been written, the things that have been expected, that the recruiter will be looking at. As I said, keyword and trigger words like JSON data format, API versioning strategy. I say, oh, cool, this guy is good. Graphical user interface, functionality, and regression testing. I talk about regression testing, Java Selenium, see the Jira tools, understanding reporting requirement, functional specification. Let me see what else. So this is one section. We'll come up with this particular section of the resume. We'll put the date, the company, and the client. We do that. That's one. Then also we try to compare that with whatever years we feel that you're comfortable with. Then we kind of like start marketing you. So your education comes after your job experience. So first, objective. Second, summary. Of course, your information. Then experience comes into play. After experience, it's going to be the educational sector, which is this. And that's all. And once it's time for like references and everything, you guys can always reach out, and we're going to help with references and stuff like that. All right. So I'm good. Any question from the QA before I go to DevOps? All right. I believe. Yeah, go ahead.
Nah, no question.
All right, awesome. All right, so let's go to DevOps now. This is DevOps. So the DevOps resume is different because it's a different arm of IT as well too. It deals more on automation. It deals more on infrastructure, and it deals more on release management. So that's why the resume is different, and most of the time people really, in all honesty, want people with minimum of 5 years experience upward in the US, because it's a delicate field. It's a field that someone can literally ruin a whole code that a developer have written and do some stuff that you may be able to get like some rollback and destroy, maybe plan for production and everything. So they want to say, okay, if we're bringing anybody in, it has to be an experienced person, and the person is good and ready to deliver for DevOps. So DevOps is kind of similar. Your information. The next is like the objective, or like summary, just like the last one we saw: objective, summary, professional summary, skills highlights. And why the skill highlights is much for DevOps is because there's a lot of tools out there that they all need to work together. Like DevOps they use a lot of tools, and it's not like it's not that straightforward. Let me put it that way for DevOps resume. So, for instance, you see this person puts some Amazon product here, Amazon EC2, the S3 bucket, and this person also put Google Cloud Platform, and also the person put Azure DevOps as well too, Kubernetes, Terraform. So it depends. Like AWS has its own CDK, its own development kit that people can use. Some people still use Terraform with AWS, Terraform with Google Cloud. It all depends. Even Azure has their own product. So the three main cloud that we all know is Amazon, Google, and Microsoft Azure. So those are the three main cloud that is well known in the United States. So knowing this, just have a basic knowledge of them is good. You don't have to be an expert in everything, but if you say, oh, I know Amazon very well, but I have an idea of Google and Microsoft, that's going to open the door. And Git, when it comes to Git, knowing either GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket is going to be a huge help. Now, for a DevOps person, knowing Jenkins or GitLab CI is very important for a DevOps person as well too. Understanding your Linux system administration, like the Linux commands and all the stuff, is very important as well too. Understanding Ansible. Some people use Ansible. It all depends. So work history, same thing as the QA. Work history, you probably want to put something here, something like this similar, and it's going to be like maybe what you did in the training, and some other project that you'll be doing is what we'll be putting here for the DevOps person. So they'll probably want to also see that you understand some keywords and also some trigger words, like snowflakes. That is mainly for data. Even though you've not even implemented this stuff before, but they want to see that you could mention some data migration tools. There's some data migration tools under Azure as well too. They want to understand if you understand like what we call like the debugging code, production issues. They want to see if you really understand what we call stage. In DevOps, staging is huge, because in pipeline they want to see we have different stages. So we have the clear workspace stage, we have the build stage, we have the sonar stage, which is kind of like the vulnerability check. Then we have the deploy. It all depends on the life cycle. We have to deploy, and then we have after the deploy, then we have the EC2 check and all the stuff. So it all depends, like a health check and all the stuff. Though DevOps, when it comes to explanation, might not have much explanation, but on paper it's a lot. And when doing the work, it's a lot, because you have to reference rather. You have to reference like the doc website for whatever product you're using. There's always a lot of information out there for DevOps, and knowing the life cycle of a CI/CD is very important. Knowing the life cycle of a CI/CD is very important. These are some of the questions that have been asked in the interviews. That, okay, so how did you deploy? How did you set up like the automated process for dev? How did you set up the automated process for maybe, let's say, UAT region for stage? They will say, okay, fine. What's the difference between a production environment and a dev environment? Because production environment is very like delicate and important. So they want to know if you really understand that part and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it. Any question?
Yes, I got a question. So the first thing you said was for a DevOps person, you gotta have at least a minimum like 5 years experience.
Yes.
So for an entry level person, what is the market looking like for us?
Yeah, so for an entry level person, I would advise that the person have to try to do a lot of projects within the space of 3 to 6 months. And when I say a lot of projects, there's what we call, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this guy, ChatGPT. You go to ChatGPT and say how to deploy and an app on AWS EC2 using AWS Lambda, stuff like this. Deploying is using Lambda involve a few steps. Yeah, you see stuff like this, right? Because this is first, you need to this. So these are kind of like, because these are basic and these are things that you might encounter when you in your interview process, and also not just in the interview process alone, also in like on the job. These are stuff that you're going to encounter, like, hey, they want to know if you really can do the stuff, if you really understand how the stuffs work. You could be like, give me sample code.
Is this a paid version?
This is the free version.
Okay.
You see that, right? It's giving you the sample
Yep.
code. See that? So it's just gonna read everything out to you: the key name, the instances, the instance ID, the EC2, and everything. You see that, right? Deployment code and stuff like that. So yeah. So you want to start getting used to the language every day. Every day you set a target. Like what are the resources in AWS? You should always say, like, after the class and everything, what are the resources on AWS? You see the resources. Then once you get the resources in AWS, you see AWS batch, AWS light sales, being. So once you get all these resources, right, then you start saying, okay, how can I deploy these resources? How can I create a stack? Stuff like that. So it's like doing your due diligence in the space of 3 to 6 months. Like the training is 3 months, then another 3 months you really prepare yourself very, very well. It's like basic deployment, doing all your labs I was given on the class. Then we will take it from there.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Right.
thank you very much, Mr. Sam. That was a great section.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, do you have any questions for your section?
No.
So we'll jump quickly to LinkedIn, because one of the ways for you to also get noticed by the potential and kind of a recruiter is through LinkedIn. You can also get some people reaching out for you in that place. So one of the things I'm going to just take you through some few lines of things you need to know. And it was setting up your LinkedIn profile. How many of us are there already? Are we? Henry, are you on LinkedIn? Faye, are you there?
I'm on LinkedIn, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on
Okay.
LinkedIn.
Well, let me just present my screen. I have about 9 tips there about to share. Let me share. I'll find you guys in my screen.
Yeah, I can see it.
So optimizing your LinkedIn profile as a professional, in fact, as a tech professional, is very, very key for you to succeed. Is one of the ways that can stand you out there. So it tips straight away. So what you need to do, first of all, you need to use, of course, it's believed that at this level, you know that you're supposed to use professional profile picture. So in case you do not know, it's very, very important that you do that. The professional picture should be with, it should be a very high quality one that shows your face clearly, and you must look professional. You can be on a suit, not your tie and all that. Then you need to avoid selfies. Don't take yourself the picture. Go to the studio or anybody help you to take it, but not you taking it by yourself. Then you need to also write a compelling headline. Compelling headline. Let me see. Maybe I will take you guys through that, but let me explain how this works. The headline should be short and patchy, descriptive of what you know or what you are doing. Like you are specializing in DevOps, you can write something like just as we had a objective on your CV can form part of your headline because it's also what the recruiter will check when he or she receives your CV or your resume. He will rush to your LinkedIn profile as well to check and ensure that your work, when you list your workplaces, your professional experience, ensure that what you are listing on your CV is also corresponding with what you have on your LinkedIn. If you said you work in Bless Skills, you have worked in Bless Skills for like maybe starting January 2023, you should also reflect on your LinkedIn as the same. So now craft a summary that highlights your skills and experience. This summary part is where people miss out most time. It's more like it's lengthy. It's more lengthy compared to the headline. Headline can just be DevOps engineer or QA engineer. And also it can also contain some of the things you know. You can use the pipe symbol on your system. Let me do you all know the pipe symbol?
Mm-hmm.
Symbol like this.
That's infinity.
Pipe, okay. So
Pipe, okay.
So now you need to also add your relevant work experience. Like I said before, they must correspond with what you have on your CV. They can't be different, if anything. And also, when I escaped, the first point is your name. People use different kinds of name. People use nickname. No, as a professional, I don't need to do that. You need to use your real name, the name that reflects on your credentials, your CV, and also on all platforms. If you're on Facebook, do not use nickname. Use a real name that people can trace you with. That's one of the things that will give them the sense that you are real, you are not fake. So another one is add relevant skills. In LinkedIn, there is a place for you to, in fact, those skills will be popping up based on your profile. They will generate those skills automatically for you. Maybe Jenkins, you have CI/CD pipeline skills, you have GitHub skill, Git and GitHub, and also GitLab, all those stuff will pop it up. So it is for you to just click and add. Then get endorsement and recommendations. This is sometimes is beyond your control because you're not the one to force people to endorse you or recommend you. But it is when you do your due diligence by maybe if you are collaborating with someone on a project, you are committed, that person can, on his or her own, can willingly go to your LinkedIn and maybe write something about you. A few lines of recommendation that when I work with Henry, when I work with Faye, he was committed, he did this, he never gave up on the task and he stayed till the end. Something like that can also help you to stand out. Then connect with others in your industry. LinkedIn will pop them up for you. This person is in your school, or was your schoolmate, or he works in in the same place with you, or is in line with DevOps engineering field. Something like that will always come up. So feel free to connect to those people because they are even the one. They might even be the one that will link it up with opportunities out there that you may not know. Then share your expertise. Don't need to hide it. If I were you, as I'm undergoing the training with less skills, anything I'm learning every day, I will take a screenshot of it. I share on my LinkedIn, and that will go a long way in letting people know that you are learning this, and this is what we have done. Do not hide it. Getting the skills is one thing, but it is also another thing to get noticed. So you don't need to hide your skill. Whatever you learn on daily basis since the one that you started this training, maybe a lot of you have done it, taking the screenshots, talking about what you've learned on a daily basis, or even compare other professionals like you to come ask you, what are you learning? Can I join you? Something like that. Can I link you up with opportunity when you're done with the training? It's a way of letting them know you are doing this. So another one is also keep your profile up to date. As I finishing up the training with less skills. So update on your LinkedIn profile. I did this training for 3 months. These are the skills that I acquire. This is what I know. This is what I can do. So it's really, really very important for you to update all this. And also, if you have certification, don't add them as your school. Certification is different from academic education. So add them separately. And if you are doing a training and obtain certification completion, do not add them as certification. Certification have links to be where people can go and verify. And if you something like certificate completion that you are doing with us with less skills, we will not give you. You can't count it under. You can't list it under the certification section of the LinkedIn profile. So these are a few tips, and in fact, I think it's everything that you need to set up the LinkedIn profile. So let me just walk you through how my LinkedIn profile looks like. So I'll go to view my profile. These are the headlines that I was talking about. Need to highlight whatever the skill you have here and and some of your achievement. And also, as when you're consistent in content sharing, content creation to help others, LinkedIn will open up your profile to be able to highlight what you are talking about, what like talks about. That's what they put there. You have to highlight the skill that you are constantly discussing with people. Yeah. This is the contact information all of us are. Now, another one is we're talking about the summary section. When you scroll down, you see the summary section. You click. No, sorry, this is not the summary section. Going back there. This is about the summary section I was talking about. This is not. This can be linked depending on what your knowledge repository, what you know. It's not short. The one that needs to be short are the headlines. So you can come down to write your profile section, the summary section very well. You can use Grammarly to check that those everything they're void of errors and all that. So add your experience. You go down to education, then the licenses and certifications are here. You go down volunteering. You just walk down again. If you take courses on LinkedIn, maybe you take a short course like or anywhere. It can be it could be on Coursera. It could also be maybe Bless Skills. It can also be from Google. This way to list them. Then project that you are doing, list them. Awards and honors and awards are also here. List them. So another one is to show. Okay, if you volunteer for something, because companies actually like those that volunteer to also assist others, maybe play a key role in community work. Because one thing about tech is help this one to help yourself. So it's also important that you list them. I believe I'm still audible.
Yeah, you're very helpful. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So those are the few tips that I have to share with you. And do you have any questions to ask?
So my question will be, so projects that we've been working on GitHub and all that, are those something that we could put on our LinkedIn profile?
Of course, as I said before, you can make a post about your learning journey with Bless Skills since you started about 11th of in January or thereabout. Week 1, I learned this. Week 2, week 3. Just if you want to write, LinkedIn has 2 ways of posting this. Kind of just what is your mind. It is usually short, about I think about 3,000 or about 3,000 words here. But if you need something lengthy, go to write article. Writing article helps to write about all the things you don't need. This one, you have a lot of things. Another way to also excel is to create a newsletter page on LinkedIn. I have a newsletter page where I constantly share what I've learned and what I do. Maybe if I deploy an application on my own, without this has nothing to do with company or with organization, just on my own, I will come here and write about it. Why? So because it will also help others to learn when they read it, and your recruiter is also mindful of all these things. Your potential recruiter, who is all out there just to look for people that are skilled in this social field, also looking out for what they have done that can also impact others, and all that I has exposed you as well. This is like a setting up a site-to-site VPN connection. This is like a few time project that I took my time to do. So I write about it and all that. So another one is what you can also do is to under your profile section, you come to this place. If a recruiter search for cloud infrastructure, something, your name will come out. Another one that also can help you is not compulsory. It's also LinkedIn Premium. I currently use my LinkedIn Premium, and so when you're using LinkedIn Premium, it turns you out more to recruiters and other senior colleagues in the industry and all that.
Okay.
So it's not
nice
too late for you to write about what you have learned in Bless Skills. So do you have any questions? Okay, go ahead, Henry.
Yeah, on your page, there is a background behind your picture. How did you get that?
Okay. The headline, the header picture, right?
Right.
Okay. So you do the picture on your own, design it somewhere, then bring it and put it. It's very easy.
Oh, you do a background picture. Okay. Okay.
Yes. Then your profile, my profile picture is right here. I can decide to change it if I want to change it.
Copy that.
Also build your presence on Twitter as well. Twitter is also one of the compelling places for tech people. So create a profile on LinkedIn and Twitter and manage them very well. Ensure I'm not, when I say being active, I'm not saying it should distract your learning. Of course, it should be when you are learning, just update them there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. Mr. Sam, are you still
Thank
there?
you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Imo. That was an amazing section.
Yeah, we are done.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Henry and Mr. Fee. We really appreciate you guys being part of Blaze Q's class. I believe the DevOps is still ongoing. So for the QA one, I think Mr. Imo had a session with the student last week, and we got some feedback, and which we take those feedback very serious, and we are working on those feedback. And we just want you guys to know that we won't just leave you guys like let's say because you guys are done with the training, we just leave you guys. No, so we still want to keep that that relationship, not just from the business side, because if we keep that relationship with you guys can always recommend other people as well too. So yeah, you guys have anything you guys want to talk about or bring up?
Yeah, my question is going to be on certifications. Is there any way we could get some directives on what certifications to focus on and what are the priority certifications that one should have on the resume to be relevant in the job market?
Sam, do you want to go for that?
Mr. Imo, you can go. I was about calling your name again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Some relevant certification for now for cloud. As a DevOps engineer, you need AWS DevOps and solution architect. Though you can't just jump to AWS DevOps because it's one of the senior exams. So if you are still starting up as it is, you can go with something like a solution architect, then do SysOp and then DevOps.
Okay.
Or then another one for cloud native, like okay, that's for cloud native. For tools like Kubernetes, if you have the time study for a Kubernetes administrator, let me check for that exam name is KCNA. Right, okay. There's KCNA certification. That is a Kubernetes and Cloud Native Associate. This is also a nice one that will grant your knowledge with Kubernetes. The another one you can go for is Linux certification, Linux System Administrator. Also one of the courses, one of the certification that is suitable for a DevOps engineer.
Okay.
Yes. So
Sure.
another
Thank you.
one is we will be asking you for some making a request. The request is for you to give us, if you can spare maybe Faye and Henry, spare some 2 minutes of your time or 5 minutes of your time. We need your testimonial for the period of time you have learned with us. A profile picture like this with your permission to post them here. If we treat you well, of course, you have something nice to say to us, say about us, just to encourage the business and other students who are
I really can't
expecting
hear nothing else.
to join us. So you can just write something in a kind of few words and send us your picture. We'll put them up here. Is that fine by you?
So where should we send the testimonial?
You mean where can you send it to?
Yeah, where should we send it to?
Well, I will drop the email on to you privately and to Henry privately, because you we don't put openly. We talk to student one-on-one, and they must have we must have their approval before putting up things that concern them. So I'll drop the email for you. Just a few lines of text and your picture. We also do cloud certification training, AWS and Microsoft Azure, even Linux. So not just this one, because Henry, like I said, focus, even if you don't have the certification on Linux, focus on getting the skills and brushing up yourself. And also Git is really, really important, even to Fei as QA, you need Git. And also after this section, go to, you can go to what's called GitHub and check out Adrian Country. It has 3 projects that aids people to build what's called open source project, testing their knowledge and all that of the AWS. Then you paste his name on the chat section. I think he has some cool project there that you can lay your hands on and learn. You get?
Yeah.
Tested his name there. So Ola Joe, you're just joining us. We are about running up. Get on. Oh, she just left. I wanted to even explain to that. Someone was trying to. Okay, it's you, Henry.
Sorry, say that again.
Oh, okay, I saw your screenshot now. And also, okay, when you were trying to, join the
connect.
meeting, right? That
Yeah,
was giving
yes,
you.
that was
Okay,
earlier.
sorry about
Yeah.
that. So, if we are done in the absence of any other question, please, let me drop the email down right in the chat. Confirm if you can see it. info@blesskills.com. So you can send in your feedback. Don't hide anything, write your feelings. You're not influencing feedback. And your proof and your picture that you feel is professional enough for us to put it up on the website to also help you in your career as well. And our lines are open. My line is open. Mr. Sam own is open. So you can feel free to reach out. If you are facing any challenges. So I always, and Henry, I'm going to add you up to a DevOps WhatsApp community where you can constantly get some help. We have over 1,200. I hope this is group 1. If group 1 is filled up, I'll add you up in group 2. So
Okay.
you can constantly get some help and tips and all that.
Okay.
For QA, we do not have any repeatable group now, but just as I stated in the group chat, in future to come, we are constantly looking for a group that is suitable for you. Henry, I see that you also have AWS and interest in AWS, so I'm going to also add you up to the AWS group. We have a lot of professionals across the globe. Don't mind the name. The name might be AWS Nigeria, but we have a lot of professionals here, right here, from even foreign countries and all that.
That's good.
So the AWS cloud is where you should also focus. Okay. So we have come to an end of the section. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Okay.